Straightforward ga, if you click on the download button, is it downloading? Automation test case lo ayinda. Okay, ఒక్క నిమిషం ఆగు. ఏది పుష్ చేయలేదు కోడ్. Where is the code for your automation? I mean, for your file downloading. Anyone was able to try downloading? Element is not clickable. Acha, okay. Page scroll is required for a download assignment. Acha, okay. Element not clickable. क्या लिखा आपने एक्सपर्ट? एंकर टैग ही लिखा था आपने? डिड यू राइट द एंकर टैग फॉर एक्सपर्ट या कुछ और लिखा है आपने एक्सपर्ट के लिए? ओके, स्क्रॉल करने के कारण वो आप क्लिक नहीं कर पा रहे हो. ఓకే ఓకే, నీ సంగతి ఏంది? అయ్యింది అవ్వలేదు ఏదో అన్నావు. మరి నీకు స్క్రోల్ ఇష్యూ ఎందుకు రాలేదు? నీకు ఎంటర్ కీవర్డా? Okay, okay. It's not opening the file downloader option. Acha, okay. Okay, okay. Manually you can download, no problem with that. But ఏంద్ర ఏం పెడుతున్నా అసలు ఇడు ఎందుకు? ఇప్పుడు రన్ చేస్తే డౌన్లోడ్ అయిందా ఫైల్? ఫైల్ ఎక్కడికి వచ్చిందో, ఫైల్ ఫోల్డర్ చూసినావా? ఏ ఫోల్డర్లోకి వచ్చిందో? రన్ చేసి స్క్రిప్ట్ రన్ చేయని చెప్తా. ఇప్పుడు నా ముంగల్ రన్ చేసి స్క్రిప్ట్. ఓకే, ఆల్ రైట్. ఓకే, డౌన్లోడ్, కూల్, సరే. ఓకే, సో ఇక్కడ రిస్ట్రిక్షన్స్ ఏం లేవు. యు ఆర్ ఏబుల్ టు డౌన్లోడ్ యూజింగ్ ఆటోమేషన్. ఫైన్. ఇది చూపి, వాట్ ఈస్ యువర్ కోడ్?
అది అన్మ్యూట్ చేస్తుంటే రావట్లేదు.
అర్థం కాలే.
చేస్తుంటే ఇది 2 times రాగాను సార్, అంటే చూసుకోకుండా 2 times రాగాను. ఏదో ఒకటి కామెంట్ చేస్తుంటే అది డౌన్లోడ్ కావట్లేదు.
డౌన్లోడింగ్ కి ఎక్స్ట్రా కోడ్ ఏం రాయలేదు. వితౌట్ రైటింగ్ ఎనీ ఎక్స్ట్రా కోడ్ యూఆర్ ఏబుల్ టు డౌన్లోడ్. సో మేబీ డౌన్లోడ్స్ ఆర్ సపోర్టెడ్ ఏమో, మరి ఐఎమ్ నాట్ రియలీ షూర్. అది స్క్రోల్తో పోతుందిలే నీకు. ఇఫ్ యూ రైట్ ది కోడ్ ఫర్ స్క్రోల్, దట్ విల్ బి హ్యాండిల్డ్ ఆటోమేటికల్లీ. అది స్క్రోల్ ఇంకా రాలేదు. యూ డిడ్ నాట్ రీచ్ దట్ పాయింట్ టు అండర్స్టాండ్ అబౌట్ స్క్రోలింగ్. ఐ షుడ్ ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ స్క్రోలింగ్ టు యూ. ఐ విల్ ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ స్క్రోలింగ్, వెయిట్స్ అవన్నీ రావాలి, థ్రెడ్ డాట్ స్లీప్ అవన్నీ. ఐ షుడ్ ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ ఆల్ ఆఫ్ దోస్ కాన్సెప్ట్స్. ఐ డిడ్ నాట్ ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ దోస్ యట్. టుడేస్ సెషన్ ఐ విల్ ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ ది వెయిట్స్ టు యూ. సరే ఉండు, కూర్చోలే, చెప్తాను. స్క్రోలింగ్ ఆబ్వియస్లీ ఈస్ గోయింగ్ టు బి అన్ ఇష్యూ. సో obviously it will be an issue scrolling, because the element is not visible on the page. You need to scroll down the page and only then it will be visible to you. So scrolling is a very big concept. You have your mouse and keyboard actions in Selenium, which you will learn slowly. But usse pehle, before that, I will explain one topic using which you can easily manage your scrolling rather than waiting for learning the entire mouse and keyboard actions. I'll teach you how to scroll without any mouse and keyboard actions. I'll teach you. But first today, you need to understand here different weights in Selenium. How are weights managed? అసలు weights ఎట్లా హ్యాండిల్ చేస్తున్నాం? How are we handling weights in Selenium? How are we managing weights in Selenium? We need to know that first. First things first. In the sample program, when we get .2, I explained you very clearly that driver.get is going to wait for the page to load. Navigate.2 is not going to wait for the page to load. It will not wait. That is what I told you. So then how to manage our waiting here? This is where your different types of weights will come into picture. The interviewers or people these days in the market, rather than calling weights, they would even call it as synchronization. So if the interviewer says, explain synchronization in Selenium, don't get confused. They are basically referring to your weights in Selenium. They might call it as synchronization also. So don't get confused. Don't be panicked when he asks you what is synchronization. Synchronization or weights, both of them are same. But thread.sleep is not something that is covered in your Selenium. Thread.sleep is not from your Selenium. Thread.sleep is from your Java. It's not a Selenium concept, it's a core Java concept, especially your multi-threading concept. It's a multi-threading concept, but we can use it in our program also wherever we need it. So what are thread.sleep, implicit wait? There are different types of weights in Java. Implicit wait, explicit wait, okay, fluent wait, page load timeout, all of these concepts. So we will discuss a few concepts today. Some of them I will discuss in today's session. But I'm more interested to know in which site I should explain you about this thread.sleep. Let me check. A website better rather than explaining this concept. Maybe I can explain it from some other website where there is a lot of waiting time. Hold on. From my mobile phone, if there is any website which requires a lot of waiting time. इसमें बताऊं which website is slow. I need a website which is a little bit slow, which loads a little bit slowly, so that which example is better for you? ठीक है, I'll explain it on YouTube. Okay, we'll see it on YouTube. Now if you observe, YouTube is loading a little bit late. It's not loading immediately, it is taking some time. Okay, let's try to mission on YouTube. So first things first, your implicit wait. Okay, let's actually copy the code from here. Okay, I'm calling those methods. Now let's go to youtube.com. Okay, now I'll run this code. Observe. As you can observe, the browser is opened and it is not maximizing the screen. Why? Because it is waiting for the page to load. So how is it managing all of that? Because in OpenDriver I have written a method where I said, maximize and driver.get. This is what I was using in our common method. But now I will not give any website name here. मैं कुछ नहीं दूंगा. I will not give anything. But here I will simply say driver.navigate.to, and here I will give my youtube.com as parameter. And what I will do is navigate.to, as I mentioned, will not wait for the page to complete its loading. It does not handle any waitings automatically. You need to write some explicit code for managing your waits in your navigate.to. So first, I'm not giving any URL here in OpenDriver. I'm leaving it empty. So obviously this will not open any website for me. It will open an empty driver and it will maximize the screen. Then I am writing driver.navigate.to. Then it will go to youtube.com. After going to youtube.com, since navigate.to is not going to wait for the page load, I will try to type something in this search field without waiting for the page load. Let's see if it will be able to type or not. So input class placeholder search. So driver.find element by.xpath dot send keys, and I will say input @ placeholder is equal to search. Let's see. I am opening my youtube.com using driver.navigate.to, which is not going to manage my loading time. I'll have to manually put some waiting time there, because if I don't put any waiting time manually, it will not handle it. It does not know how to handle waits. Its responsibility is to just go to that page. That's it. It will not wait. Whereas driver.get will automatically manage all of this. Navigate.to will not manage. So let's see, without loading youtube.com, can we search for live news in the search field? First it will open an empty browser. Okay, this यहीं पे जा रही है. Or else first I'll go to some other website. First मैं Google को जाऊँगा. I'll go to Google, then I'll go to YouTube. Okay, still handling it. Which website? Page slow గా లోడ్ అయ్యేది ఏదన్నా కావాలి. వాడి అమ్మ ఏంద్రా ఇది? Okay, music tab, and I want to click on this subscribe button. Let's see if it is happening fast. Music tab, subscribe button immediately వచ్చేస్తుంది. There is no delay in the subscribe button. Movies, huh? Okay, movies కూడా immediately you are able to see movies. View all. It is taking some time if you click on view all. So movies, and then let's try to click on this first search element. All of these are loading quickly only, so you don't have to worry. Explicit wait we can easily see, but implicit wait tends to be a little bit tricky. So అందుకే implicit wait, let's see an example where implicit wait will be immediately visible. I mean immediately applicable. Subscriptions, sign in. When I click on live, it is loading a little bit slow. So first I'll open my YouTube. Okay, my live screen is opening a little bit late. I want to click on this watch live option. Let's see what will be the XPath for this watch live option. Span watch live. Okay. First I need to click on this live option. YT formatted string text is equal to live. Okay. So it will open Google, then it will go to YouTube. It is clicking on live. If you observe, the screen is loading a little bit slow here. I want to click on this watch live button. So ideally what we will be doing, we'll be using thread.sleep. But without thread.sleep, why is it inefficient? We'll try to understand why that is inefficient. So I want to click on this watch live option. So watch live ki XPath the XPath is span. Span text is equal to watch live. So I would want to click on this element, driver dot find element by dot XPath and dot click. What is the XPath? Span text is equal to watch live. Let's see if it is handling that watch live. Is it clicking on that watch live or not? Ideally it should not, but let's see. So did it click on watch live? No. At line number 13, you are getting an exception. What is the exception? No such element exception. Let's check our XPath first. Is it because of the XPath is incorrect or is it because of the waiting time? Let's first figure it out and then we will discuss. My XPath is right. My XPath is 100% fine, but it is not able to click on this watch live option. Let's put thread.sleep first. Okay. So before clicking on watch live, I'll put thread.sleep 5000. What is thread.sleep of 5000? 5000 milliseconds or 5 seconds? 1000 milliseconds is 1 second. 5000 milliseconds is 5 seconds. But if you observe here, I am getting an exception here. Now how do I handle exceptions? Exceptions एटला handle చేయొచ్చు అని చెప్పిన నేను कैसे बोला था exception handling करने के लिए using try catch. So either you can put try here, you will put this inside try and then you will write a catch exception e like this. Either you can use a try catch like this or this is not really an exception that will occur. Why are we handling this? Even if the code is correct, why are we handling this exception? This is where your second part of exception handling comes into picture. The next part of exception handling. The reason why, even though this previously we were getting exception when we were dividing by 0 or when we were accessing an element which is not present, an index out of the range, if we are accessing those kind of elements, we are getting exception because in that case the code was genuinely wrong. The code was wrong. Rather than handling with try catch, we should change our code. That was the issue. So that's a kind of unchecked exception. Then unchecked exceptions are common. We call those as unchecked exceptions. Where is this? Yeah. They are called as here unchecked exceptions. Next year checked exceptions. Unchecked exceptions are your logical issues in the code. You did not write the code proper. तुम ठीक से code लिख नहीं पाए. So if you observe the notes also, See, unchecked exceptions, if you observe, the compiler does not mandate to handle, and at the time of compiling you will not get these errors unless the code is completely executed. You will not get these errors. So that is why we should handle this using try catch, but rather than using try catch, we should be paying attention to the code that we are writing. If you write the code properly, put a no such element exception, you got a no such element exception. The problem is not with your XPath or anything. The problem is with the code that you are writing. Either you are not writing the code properly, or your XPath might be incorrect, or maybe your waiting time is not sufficient. Due to these reasons, you are getting an exception. So rather than handling them with try catch, you should make sure that your code is in a position to execute it properly or write a genuinely meaningful code. So unchecked exceptions are logical issues in your code. So what are those? Example here, arithmetic exception. You divide by 0, obviously you are going to get an exception. Don't divide by 0. You divide क्यों करना है तेरे को? Divide by 0. Or array index out of bounds exception. Manage your indexes properly. Array index out of bounds exception. Write the code properly that it does not go out of the bounds. तुम ठीक से code लिखो, नु सरिग्गा राई code. If you write the code properly, you will not get these arithmetic exception or array index out of bounds exception, because these are the logical issues in your code. You can control all of this without getting the exception. You can manage all of this. तुम ठीक से code लिखोगे, these unchecked exceptions are easy to handle for you, but checked exceptions are not like that. Checked exceptions, if you can see here, handled during compile time, and it gives a compilation error if it is not caught. So at the time of compilation only you will get an error. That is why when you are writing thread.sleep, even before executing the code only you are getting the error. When you are handling the files, when you are reading the files, even before executing the code only you are getting a red color underline. Why? Because these will be handled during compile time only. Compilation, as I told you, Java program execution is a two-step process. First is compilation, then execution. You will execute your Java program in two steps. I told you when I was explaining via command prompt. Command prompt నుంచి ఎట్లా execute చేయాలని నేను చెప్పాను. I've shown you how to execute your programs from command line. So Java program execution is a two-step process. First compile, then execute. So your checked exceptions will be visible immediately during compile time only, and these need not be handled using try catch. అవసరం లేదు. Using try catch you need not handle them, because here if you observe, the code is correct. Code correct है exception handling లో. In this example here, okay, thread.sleep 5000. The code is correct only. There is nothing wrong with this code. It is not like you are dividing by 0. It is not like you are accessing out of the array indexes. The code is correct, but still you are getting an issue. Why? Because the compiler is expecting and anticipating an exception. अगर आएगा तो ఒకవేళ exception వస్తే, in case there is an exception, handle it बोल के. There may be an exception, there may not be an exception. You never know. So you are anticipating an exception and you are handling it. So either you can put it in try and catch like this, try and catch exception E like this. Either you can use try catch for this, or else you can, rather than handling this, because this is not an exception, your code is correct, but you are still not able to figure out. I mean, you are not able to run the program because the compiler is anticipating an exception. Anticipating an exception is different. Genuinely getting an exception is different. This is not like your division by 0 where there is definitely going to be an exception. This is not an exception. You will not get any exception if you run this code. But your compiler is anticipating an exception which is stopping the execution for you. This is why either you can handle this using try catch, or just be beside the main method, put a keyword called as throws. Throws exception. What is the meaning of throws exception? Throws exception is not like your try catch, but an alternative or a substitute for your try catch block. Throws is just a heads up. Okay, heads up ఇస్తున్నాం. It's like a warning. It's like a intimation saying that beta you might get an exception, so be wary. थोड़ा ध्यान दो. be careful, you might get an exception. Will throws handle the exception if genuinely there is an exception? No. Throws handle nahi karega. Throws is definitely not going to handle. What is the purpose of throws? The purpose of throws is to anticipate an exception and flag that exception, but not handle the exception. Ultimately, अगर तेरे को exception handle करना है, you want to handle the exception, ultimately you should use try catch only. But in this case, the code is not run. The code is correct only. Code correct है. But the problem is the compiler is not able to move forward. The compiler is a little bit afraid to move forward. वो डर रहा है आगे बढ़ने के लिए because it is anticipating exception. कुछ गलत होगा तो in case there might be an exception, ఒకవేళ exception వస్తే ఏం చేస్తావు అని చెప్పాను. So in that case, you are using throws exception and telling the compiler कि बच्चा don't move forward. You might be anticipating an exception, but that's okay. Move forward. This code will work all right అని చెప్పాను. So that is why you will use throws exception. But if there is genuinely there is an exception in the code, will throws handle it? No. Throws is just an assurance saying that sab theek hai, everything is fine, move forward, go ahead. Em kangaru vadak mundiki elliponu. Don't worry, go forward. That is what your throws exception is going to do. Throws exception will not handle the exception. Ultimately, if you want to handle the exception, you should use try catch only. So throws is like an assurance. It's like a bharosa that you are giving your code that beta don't worry, move forward. The code will execute normally. Do not stop your execution during compilation. Go forward, move ahead. So it is like anticipating an exception and you are just giving it an assurance that exception will be, there will not be an exception bolke. But if genuinely there is an exception, even throws will not handle it, you should again go with try catch only. In this case, my code is correct. Na code correct hai. There is nothing wrong with my code. But the compiler is a little bit afraid. అది భయపడుతుంది కంపైలర్ డర్ రా కంపైలర్ ఇస్ అ లిటిల్ బిట్ అఫ్రైడ్ దట్ వాట్ ఇఫ్ దేర్ మైట్ బి ఎన్ ఎక్సెప్షన్ దెన్ ఐ యామ్ సేయింగ్ డోంట్ వరీ ఐ యామ్ హియర్ దేర్ విల్ నాట్ బి ఎన్ ఎక్సెప్షన్ ఐ యామ్ గివింగ్ యూ ది అష్యూరెన్స్ ఆగే బాబు దట్ ఈస్ వాట్ థ్రోస్ ఇస్ గోయింగ్ టు డూ సో వాట్ డస్ thread.sleep do? Thread.sleep is simply if you observe this execution here, अगर ये execution यहाँ पे देखोगे, if you observe, see, hello world is not immediately printed. It is taking some time to print hello world. Why? Thread.sleep is delaying the execution of the program. It is pausing the program execution for 5 seconds at that step. The purpose of thread.sleep is to delay, to pause, to hold on for whatever number of seconds that you are giving 5,000 milliseconds or 5 seconds. 1,000 milliseconds is 1 second. So 5,000 milliseconds is 5 seconds. So it is pausing the execution. Matlab, it at line number 6, it is pausing for 5 seconds. After spending 5 seconds at line number 6, it will go to the next line, which is line number 9. So that is why if you remove this pause, this thread.sleep, you will be able to see hello world very quickly. Immediately వచ్చేస్తుంది hello world. But if you put thread.sleep and if you execute the code, see, you're not getting immediately. Why? It is waiting for that 5 seconds, and then once those 5 seconds are fully completed, it will then print hello world. Similarly, here also in your code, first I am clicking on this live option. After clicking on this live option, I want to click on this watch live option. मेरे को ये watch now या watch live जो है, I want to click on this option. But that is not immediately visible. वो immediately नहीं दिख रहा है. So I want to wait for it. I want to hold on for a couple of seconds. So that is why I am using thread.sleep and then I am trying to click on the element. I am using thread.sleep. So let's use thread.sleep and then execute the program. Then also execute the program without using thread.sleep. With thread.sleep, without thread.sleep. We'll try to see what will happen. I have clicked on live. अरे watch now आ गया अभी. It is watch now, not watch live. So obviously XPath will fail. ठीक है. This is where you will get a fourth kind of XPath. Okay. See, this is where you have a fourth type of XPath, which is your contains XPath. Contains, you have used contains only normally with attributes and values. You can use contains even like this also. Contains text. You can write the XPath like this also if you want. All these days, how are you writing the text XPath? You are writing it like this: anchor tag text is equal to, and you are mentioning whatever the exact text value is. Itla. You are writing like this, text based XPath, but you can combine text and contains both like this: anchor tag contains text, comma, like this. You can combine text and anchor contains both. So in this case, since it is watch now, I will write like this. I'll change the XPath like this. Either I can put watch now लगा सकता हूँ. If I want, I can put watch now, text is equal to watch now, or else I can even use this contains text is text watch. So it is clicking on live आ गया, but watch now is not visible. It is waiting for 5 seconds. Then it still did not click. Why did it still not click? అరే వాచ్ నౌ కి వాచ్ లైవ్ కి మధ్యలో కొట్టుమిట్ ఆడుతుంది అది. ఇట్ ఈస్ చేంజింగ్ బిట్వీన్ వాచ్ నౌ అండ్ వాచ్ లైవ్. अभी वॉच लाइव आ गया. लेट्स क्लिक ऑन दिस पर्टिकुलर हेडर ओनली. ये वाले पे क्लिक करेंगे. H1 ID हीरो टाइटल H1 ID हीरो टाइटल. Let's click on this one, whatever it is. Okay, so H1 @ID is equal to ID is equal to hero title. Okay, let's try to run the program and check if it is clicking on the title or not. YouTube live. It will wait for 5 seconds. Then it is clicking on it. Okay, it is clicking on that element. Okay, cool. I will say what I will do is I will put, instead of 5 I will put 10. 10 सेकंड लगाएगा मैं. I will put 10 seconds. See what will happen now. Okay, it is going to YouTube live. Then it will wait for the entire 10 seconds. ये पूरा दिखने के बाद भी वो wait करेगा. It is visible, but still it will wait for 10 seconds and then it is clicking on it. But what if, rather than thread.sleep, okay, instead of thread.sleep, I will, rather than that, I will use this one. Thread.sleep बदल I will use driver.manage.window.implicitly wait. Sorry, not manage.window, manage.timeouts. Implicitly wait. This is your implicit wait example. I'll wait for 60 seconds. 60 क्या 60 बोले तो seconds है, 60 बोले तो days है, hours है, milliseconds, microseconds, nanoseconds. What is it that you want to wait for? I want to wait for 60 seconds. So you might feel thread.sleep 10 seconds is enough. Why are you using implicit wait 60 seconds? You might feel that thread.sleep will be faster than implicit wait. But let's see what is going to happen now. Okay, we'll click on live. Which one do you think was faster, thread.sleep or implicit wait? Which one did you feel is faster, thread.sleep or implicit wait? Let's go back and execute this code again. फिर से execute करेंगे इसको. Okay, let's execute this once again. कितना time wait कर रहा है? How much time is it waiting? Let's try to understand. It is opening YouTube. After going to YouTube, it is clicking on live. It is waiting for the page and that element, and it has clicked on it. Maximum how much seconds? How many seconds? 2-3 seconds. It is waiting for it. That's it. Really waiting for the entire 60 seconds? No. But I will uncomment my implicit wait and I will open up my thread dot sleep once again. Is thread dot sleep ko I'll handle using throws keyword like this. And let me run the program now. Thread dot sleep I have put 10 seconds. Implicit wait I have put 60 seconds. Which one is faster? Let's try to understand. Let's see. Live. Then it is not clicking on it. Click nahi kar raha. It is waiting for the entire 10 seconds to complete. Now it is clicking. So which one do you think is faster in this case? Implicit wait is faster. Why? Implicit wait, although you can see it for 60 seconds, it is not going to wait for the entire 60 seconds. ऐसा क्यों? Why? Implicit wait is a dynamic wait. Dynamic wait matlab, what does implicit wait do? Implicit wait will wait for this particular element to be visible. It will not wait for the entire page, or usually what they will say, implicit wait will wait for the page to load. Okay, that is a valid explanation. It will wait for the page to load. It will not wait for the entire 60 seconds. Maximum it will wait for 60 seconds. अगर 60 seconds के अंदर नहीं मिला, if it is not loading within 60 seconds, then the test case will fail. You are giving a maximum of 60 seconds. If it is loading within 2 seconds, it will not waste the rest of the 58 seconds. It will move forward. आगे बढ़ेगा वो. That is why it is dynamic wait. Why? Because today it is taking 5 seconds to load the page. Tomorrow it is taking 10 seconds. Day after tomorrow 20 seconds. But 1 week later it is coming back to 2 seconds again. So your waiting time is not stable. Every day you will not have the same amount of waiting time. एक दिन एक तरह रहेगा. You run it on your machine, your internet connection at your home, it will behave differently. You run it on the company's network, it will behave differently. You run it from the metro station on your mobile data, it will run differently. Loading times will be different based on your internet. And even if your internet is good, if the application is slow, servers slow hai aaj, the servers are down, the servers are not performing well, even then the application is going to be slow. Then in that case, your waiting time is not constant. Har din ek hi waiting time rahega. Every day there will not be the same waiting time for you. There is no guarantee that the waiting time is going to be constant, stable every time. What you need to do, you need to figure out what is the maximum waiting time I can spend. Maximum से maximum कितना देर wait कर सकता నేను maximum last ఎంత వరకు wait చేయగలుగుతా నేను what is the maximum time I can wait for. You need to decide what it will be for your project. Is it 60 seconds? Is it 120 seconds? Is it 300 seconds? What is the maximum waiting time? You will have to decide. तुम अपने आप खुद decide कर लेने का. You decide yes call. Now, if you wait for half a day, also the page will load. Will the customer wait for half a day? Customer expects the application to be very quick, very fast, very responsive. So, you can handle with you can handle with implicit wait being 60 hours also. Time units no. Rather than seconds, I can put hours, I can put days also. Wait karo, please wait for some time, the page is going to load. He is not going to wait. He is going to say, I have paid you money, give me a proper responsive application. So it will load even after 2 minutes, 3 minutes also. But that's a performance issue. It is loading slowly. But there is a performance issue. The developer needs to fix it. You need not manage your waiting time. You need to decide what is the maximum allowed waiting time for your application to load. Is it 1 minute? Is it 2 minutes? Is it 3 minutes? Some applications even 5 minutes also. Okay, applicable, agreeable for waiting time. But you need to ask yourself a question. Will the client wait for that much of time? Client wait karega utna time? Client is not going to wait for that much of time. So you need to figure out what is the maximum waiting time you can wait for, and then you need to write your implicit wait, because implicit wait is a dynamic wait. It will wait for the page to load. People will say it will wait for the page to load, but my explanation for this would be, it will anticipate this particular element. ये particular element के लिए wait करेगा. It will wait for this particular element. Okay? ये element ఏదైతే ఇచ్చినో, the magic is it will not execute here. At line number 20 it will not execute. Line number 20 it will immediately move forward. It is anticipating this element. ये element के लिए anticipate कर रहा है. So that is why it is waiting for 60 seconds of time. Within 60 seconds, if this particular element is not loaded, if it is this element is not visible, ఇప్పుడు నేను ఇది 1 second పెడతా. I'll just put it 1 second. If the page is not loading and if the element is not loading quickly within 1 second, your test case is immediately going to fail, because implicit wait also cannot handle 1 second waiting में वो क्या करेगा? What is he going to do in 1 second? See, observe. 1 second में load हो गया, very quick. The page got loaded within 1 second only. Strange. So implicit wait will not waste any time. Even you put 100 seconds here, you put 100 seconds, it is not going to wait for the entire 100 seconds. If the page is loaded within 1 second, that's it. Rest of the 99 seconds it will ignore and it will move forward. But that's not the case with your thread.sleep. Thread.sleep में तुम कितना time देता है, you put 10 seconds, it will wait the entire 10 seconds. It does not care if the page is loaded, if the element is visible, if the element is not visible. उसको फर्क नहीं पड़ता है. It is not going to make any difference for thread.sleep. Thread.sleep is a hard wait. It will wait for the entire duration. That is why when you automate your test cases, thread.sleep is the worst way of writing your code. Why? Because you are unnecessarily slowing down your test case. What could have completed within 1 minute or 2 minutes is taking 3 minutes, 4 minutes because you have used too many thread.sleeps in your test case. So, where should we use thread.sleep? Where should we use implicit wait? Thread.sleep should be used in all those situations where there is a mandatory waiting time. हर दिन वही waiting time रहता है. Every day there is going to be a mandatory waiting time. Every day it is going to take that much waiting time, a fixed amount of waiting time. Then in that case use thread.sleep. I need to mandatorily wait 1 minute here before I move forward. I need to mandatorily wait for 1.5 minutes before I move forward. In that case, use thread.sleep because it will mandatorily wait for that much amount of time, whatever time you give. But I don't know what is the waiting time. One day it will take 2 seconds, another day it will take 20 seconds, one day it will take only 5 seconds. Go with dynamic wait, implicit wait. It will wait for a particular element of your choice. That's what it will do. So, you can use either implicit wait or your thread.sleep. Sometimes people will also do something like this. ये भी करते हैं कभी कभी. What do they do? After driver.navigate.to, since there is no automatic waiting mechanism, they can write this also. driver.manage.timeouts dot page load. Page load timeout అని చెప్పాను. Okay? Page load timeout. So 60, time unit dot seconds. అంటే it will wait for a maximum of 60 seconds for the entire page to load. Page load timeout అంటాం దీన్ని మనం. Without using any implicit wait, without using any explicit wait, without using any thread.sleep, because this page load timeout is automatically handled in your driver.get. Driver.get will automatically handle this page load timeout. You don't have to put it. But for driver.navigate.to, you need to write a separate code like this so that it will wait for the entire page to load. Page load and work wait just maximum of 60 seconds. If it is loading within 60 seconds, it will move forward, no problem. So, if you are using navigate.to, use page load timeout also just to be safe. You never know when you are going to screw up your code. See, it is loading for the page to, it is waiting for the page to load, then it is moving forward. You are basically not observing any difference here. तेरे को उतना difference नहीं दिख रहा है यहाँ पे because this website is responsive for you. But if there is a website, if it is that not that responsive, then in that case your navigate.to is going to give you नहीं चुक्कल చూపిస్తుంది నీకు. दिन में तारे दिखाएगा तेरे को navigate.to because navigate.to is a very dumb way of writing your automation code and it does not handle any waiting time of the page load. So you need to manually handle your page loading like this. Amen? Page load timeout ante it will wait for the entire page to load. Implicit wait will not wait for the entire page to load. Implicit wait will wait for a particular element to be visible. Whereas page load timeout, it will wait for the entire page to load. This is also dynamic only. Is it waiting for 60 seconds before clicking on that live option? Did it wait for 60 seconds? No. The page got loaded. Chalo, move forward. Let's go forward. That's it. But if you want a particular element to be loaded, then in that case, you can go with implicit wait. Thread.sleep, when there is a fixed waiting time, mandatory pakka I need to wait for 60 seconds, go with thread.sleep. But वो मेरे हाथ में नहीं है. That's not in my hands. Today it might be 60 seconds, tomorrow it might be 30 seconds, day after tomorrow it might be 5 seconds. Dynamic waiting time. Go with implicit wait. There is the explicit wait also. Why we will use, I'll explain that when the time comes. This is your thread.sleep, page load out, page load timeout, and implicit wait. So you can writing any of this. You can write any of this in your code. But my humble suggestion for you, if you use too many thread.sleep in your program, that's a bad way of designing your code. बहुत बकवास कोडिंग है वो. Because as I told you yesterday, code review meeting में पहले तेरे को ही पकड़ेंगे. If if you are using too many thread dot sleeps in your program, पहले तेरे को ही पकड़ेंगे. Because if you are using too many thread dot sleeps in your program, the program execution time is going to increase. So हर एक टेस्ट केस में if your thread dot sleep is increasing by 30 seconds, imagine for 100 test case how much time it will increase, for 500 seconds how much time it will increase, for 1000 test case how much time is it going to increase thread dot sleep. So एक टेस्ट केस में से सब बढ़ के it is going to increase the waiting time to some 1 hour or 2 hours unnecessarily will get wasted because of this thread dot sleep. तुम एक टेस्ट केस के बारे में मत सोचो. Don't think about one single test case in the framework. If you keep on adding this unnecessary thread dot sleep for every test case in your framework, it is going to add up. Without thread dot sleep, if you use implicit wait, explicit wait, page load timeout, your test cases will be faster. It will not wait for the entire duration. They will be faster than the thread dot sleep. So you can save a lot of time. अभी टाइम सेव करके मेरे को क्या करना है, मेरे को जल्दी नहीं है, तेरे को नहीं है, तेरे मैनेजर को है. You might not be in a hurry, but your manager will be in a hurry. He expects you to execute your test cases in a single day sometimes. Your entire project is automated. Why are you taking so much time to run your automation test cases? Your manager is going to ask a very simple question. तुम रात भर के जागो, I don't care. Wake up the whole night, do a night out, but complete your automation execution. That's what your manager is. Automation होने के बाद, once automation is completed, they really don't take any excuses from you. You should complete the execution. बोलते you should complete the execution. That's it. There is no excuse for you. Manual testing में they can take a lot of excuse. मेरे हाथ दुख, I'm not able to do it. I'm having cold. I'm having cough. They will give all these reasons because it's manual testing. But automation engineers cannot, unfortunately. You have softwares, you have some tools in such a way that they will run the execution the whole night also. You can sleep, the execution will continuously happen on the cloud also. You need not sit in front of the laptop to execute the test cases. I'll show all of that to you in the upcoming sessions. So you will not have any excuses. So if your test cases are taking too much time to complete the execution due to thread dot sleep, that's the worst way of writing the code. You are unnecessarily increasing the execution time. तेरे को क्या जा रहा है? What is happening in 6 seconds could have been what is executing in 6 hours could have been reduced to 4 or 5 hours. You could have saved 1 hour. That 1 hour is also very precious. Your 1 hour got increased because of too many thread dot sleeps in your program. क्या करेगा 1 hour save करके? Sometimes that 1 hour is going to play a lot of importance. Why? The client is expecting a last minute execution. Last minute में, last day the client is expecting another round of execution. कल release है, Saturday or Monday there is a release. The client is expecting a quick round of full regression on the application. You have some 500 regression test cases. If you have too many thread dot sleep, लग जाएगा तुम्हारा Friday के दिन. You are going to unnecessarily waste your time due to this thread dot sleep, too much execution time. क्लाइंट को क्या है? द क्लाइंट थिंक्स एवरीथिंग इज ऑटोमेटेड. यू जस्ट हैव टू क्लिक अ बटन. क्या जा रहा है तेरा बोल के. द क्लाइंट विल आस्क यू टू एग्जीक्यूट एंटायर ऑटोमेशन टेस्ट केसेस once again for regression for one more round. If it is taking too much of time for execution, the client is expecting a response from you. Friday end of the day the client is expecting an update. Testing खत्म हुआ या नहीं हुआ, testing is over or not over, he is expecting an update from you. But thanks to your thread dot sleep, it has taken 1 hour extra, 2 hours extra. You are not able to give the update on time, or you have to extend on a Friday evening due to this thread dot sleep. That is why do not use thread dot sleeps unnecessarily in your test case. You have been using it because I did not explain. That is okay, चलता है, अभी के लिए चलेगा. But now that you have understood what is implicit wait, there is no excuse. You should not be using thread dot sleep unnecessarily in your test case. वो आदत बन जाएगा तेरे को. It will become a habit to you, and you will continue these bad habits into your testing, into your automation again. Interview maybe you will continue these bad habits and you will lose your interview. So lose these bad habits here itself. Thread dot sleep is a bad habit. Do not use it unnecessarily. ठीक है? పల్లి బఠానీ లాగా యూజ్ చేయొద్దు దాన్ని thread dot sleep ని. Use it very carefully. Thread dot sleep is very precious. Use it very carefully because that shows that we are dumb. మనం అవులగాలం అని చెప్పి చూపిస్తుంది థ్రెడ్ డాట్ స్లీప్ ఎక్కువ వాడినామంటే. ఫ్రాంక్గా చెప్తున్నా, కొత్తగా జాయిన్ అయ్యే పిల్లగాళ్ళు ఏం చేస్తారు తెలుసా మా టీంలో? వెన్ ఎవర్ దెర్ ఆర్ న్యూ పీపుల్, న్యూ ఫ్రెషర్స్ జాయినింగ్ ఇన్ ది టీమ్, అమీర్పేటలో కోర్సులు నేర్చుకొని వస్తారు. నా స్టూడెంట్స్ ఎప్పుడు రాలేదులే నా టీంలకు, కానీ మై స్టూడెంట్స్ నెవర్ కేమ్ ఇన్ టు మై టీమ్, నాట్ ఈవెన్ ఇన్ టు మై కంపెనీ ఆల్సో, నాట్ ఈవెన్ ఇన్ టు మై ప్రాజెక్ట్. నన్ ఆఫ్ మై స్టూడెంట్స్ హ్యావ్ since looking in Narisheti. So when I see a lot of Amirpet Nibas joining my company, joining my team, అమీర్పేట్ నిబా వాళ్ళు ఏం చేస్తారు బేసిక్గా అంటే చూడంగానే అర్థమవుతుంది కదా అమీర్పేట్ అని చెప్పినా, రైట్ అమీర్పేట్ వాడు కోడ్ రాయంగానే అర్థమవుతుంది వాడు అమీర్పేట్ అని చెప్పాను. ఏం చేస్తాడు, he will put too many thread dot sleep in the test case. My test case is working all right, but it is taking too much time. I don't want to waste this much time, because for me in my project each test case runs for 1 hour, 1.5 hour, single test case, system integration test case. If you are going to use too many thread dot sleep, implicit wait use करने से ही मेरा 1.5 hour चल रहा test case. If I start using thread dot sleep, it will take 3 hours time. कौन बैठेगा 3 घंटे एक टेस्ट केस के लिए ऐसा स्क्रीन के बाजू में, ऐसा स्क्रीन पे ऐसा लुकिंग एट योर स्क्रीन फॉर 3 hours? Who is going to sit in front of the screen for 3 hours? Thread dot sleep लगा के thread dot sleep throws exception. అరే నీ అవన్నీ ఏంద్రా ఇదంతా పంచాయతీ తీయి అని చెప్పని అవన్నీ తీపియాలి అవన్నీ నీకు ఆల్రెడీ సబ్ కుచ్ thread dot sleep बोल के. So thread dot sleep simply we are not able to judge the waiting times. వాడికి జడ్జ్ చేయడం రావట్లేదు, ఈజ్ నాట్ ఏబుల్ టు జడ్జ్ ది వెయిటింగ్ టైం ప్రాపర్లీ. సో దట్ ఈస్ వై ఈజ్ యూజింగ్ thread dot sleep. సో జడ్జ్ ది వెయిటింగ్ టైమ్స్ ప్రాపర్లీ. Synchronization is one of the most important concepts. Waiting is a talent that you need to develop in your Selenium. Everyone can write Selenium code. हर कोई send keys click कर सकता है. Anyone can write XPath, but it takes a proper talent to identify where to put wait, where not to put wait, where is a wait required, where is wait not required. You need exposure, you need talent, you need practice for that. So practice that way. Start using implicit wait. Once I explain explicit wait, use explicit wait. No about it. So no, it will not be applicable in all. It will be applicable only for that particular element that you mentioned. You search on the internet, it will say it will be applicable for the entire page. No, it is not. ChatGPT से पूछोगे तो तेरे को different answer देगा, Google तेरे को different answer देगा. But my personal experience, implicit wait will not wait for the entire page to load. It will wait for that particular element only. By the time you interact with this element, the rest of the page is however going to load. నువ్వు ఈ ఎలిమెంట్ తో ఇంటరాక్ట్ చేసే లోపల వేరే ఎలిమెంట్ లోడ్ అయిపోతుంది నీకు ఎట్లయినా. సో దట్ ఈస్ ఆల్సో ఫైన్. ఏ నై కర్నా మేరే కో, డూ పేజ్ లోడ్ టైమ్ అవుట్ ఇఫ్ యూ వాంట్, దట్ ఈస్ ఆల్సో ఫైన్. నో, కమింగ్ బ్యాక్ టు యువర్ లాస్ట్ లొకేటర్, యువర్ CSS లొకేటర్. CSS లొకేటర్, వీ డిడ్ నాట్ లుక్ ఇన్ టు అవర్ CSS లొకేటర్ సో ఫార్. CSS లొకేటర్ నేర్చుకోలేదు మనం. లెట్స్ లెర్న్ అవర్ CSS లొకేటర్. How to locate our elements based on CSS locators. CSS locator ka syntax. So standard way is just like how you use your XPath, the same way you can write your CSS locator also. But the difference is, यहाँ पे तू attribute को @ लगाएगा. In your XPath, when you write an XPath, you will say tag name square brackets में @attribute is equal to single quotes value. This is what you will write in your XPath. But CSS के लिए you don't need to put that @. Everything is same. Just remove the @ and you will still be able to execute your CSS locator. It will be all right. You can execute it. Should not be a problem. There are other ways of writing CSS locator also, like this. अगर तेरे को you want to locate the element based on the ID attribute basis पे you want to locate the element. First will be your tag name dot ID attribute का value. Whatever is the ID attribute का value. मतलब let's take this facebook.com as the example. ఈ facebook.com ఎగ్జాంపుల్ తీసుకుంటే your email ID attribute ka value, what was the ID attribute ka value? It was email. So if I had to write, I'll write like this: CSS locator input dot email. That's it. This is my CSS locator here. That's it. And if I want to execute this, I will write in console. XPath के लिए what were you writing in console? $X. XPath के लिए you're writing $X, but for CSS locator $. You will put $2 and you will write like this, double quotes में, tag name is input dot email. text అనేది ట్యాగ్ నేమ్ డాట్ అరే హ్యాష్ కదా సారీ డాట్ అనేది క్లాస్ అట్రిబ్యూట్కి ఫర్ ఐడి అట్రిబ్యూట్ ఇట్ ఈస్ హ్యాష్ like this. So you're able to locate even using this like this. Or if you have a class attribute value basis మీద నువ్వు locate చేయాలి. So in this case can I use the class attribute use చేయగలుగుతున్నా నేను ఈ కేసులో can I use why can I not use कर सकता मैं numbers but sometimes there will be class attribute also available here like in your orange HRM website class attribute value there was no numeric value here यहाँ पे numeric value नहीं था solution के लिए सी nav link head in this case how to write the CSS locator simple नहीं कर सकता मैं ओके nav link head I can if I want allow pasting बोल के टाइप करूंगा तो आ जाएगा nav link dot head there are 5 elements my first element would be my solutions element like this if I can use attribute I can use dot if I want to any other attribute कोई और attribute use करना है मेरे को I want to locate based on area current so I can write like this I don't think it will work here a area current is equal to page it will not work CSS path it will not work here like this it work so okay a tag name at the rate what is the attribute area current is equal to page అంతేనా area current is equal to page this will not work here also but ఇక్కడ కూడా పని చేయదు it will not work it will run in your program but not in this if you want to run it in the browser the syntax will be a little bit different so if you want to combine multiple CSS locators तेरे को class and ID दोनों के basis पे ढूंढना है రెండింటిని combine చేసి ఎతకాలి you can combine both of them also like this okay you have other different types of CSS locators also here other different types of CSS logic you want you can refer okay बस हो जाता but if he asks you to write CSS locator फिर क्या करेगा unnecessarily you don't want to look that you don't know what is CSS locator दोनों भी सीख लो हो जाएगा जो चाहिए वो लिख सकते हो my suggestion always use XPath कोई भी जो कुछ भी बोले whatever anyone might say use your XPath only no matter what happens use XPath only but कभी कभी इधर उधर हो जाएगा go for the other attributes also sometimes देखो a basic logic that I will tell you if you are able to locate using name ID class attributes XPath की जरूरत है नहीं तुमको XPath is really not necessary for you when will you use XPath usually when you are not able to locate using name ID class attributes अभी यहाँ पे if you observe here there is no name ID class attribute at all in this case so in this case पक्का तेरे को XPath ही लिखना पड़ेगा नहीं तो link text partial link text because based on tag name you will get more than one element there is no class attribute there is no name attribute there is no ID attribute so at a maximum either you can use CSS locator XPath link text or partial link text out of 8 4 are already gone for this 4 तो काम कर ही नहीं सकते इसके लिए डाल गए थे पनगुड़ चाहिए हो दिन की only the other 4 will work so you need to figure out which one you need to use my suggestion go with XPath because class name ID tag name are useless in this case go with XPath but sometimes if class name ID attributes are available अभी ये Facebook का देखो take this Facebook as an example you can use ID and name attributes if you want to locate the element so XPath की जरूरत नहीं है you genuinely don't need XPath but if the interviewer is asking you to write the XPath use these attributes and write the XPath should not be a problem షుడ్ బి అ కేక్ వాక్ ఫర్ యూ ఐడియల్లీ ఇఫ్ యూ ఆస్క్ మీ. ఈజీగా అయిపోవాలి నీకు, పెద్ద టెన్షన్ ఏమి ఉండద్దు నీకు నన్ను అడిగితే. సో అండర్స్టూడ్. ఐ విల్ షో యూ ది ప్రోగ్రామ్, బట్ బిఫోర్ వి మూవ్ ఆన్, ఆల్ ఓకే ఆర్ ఎనీ కన్ఫ్యూజన్? అంత ఓకేనా? ఏమన్నా కన్ఫ్యూజన్ ఉందా రిగార్డింగ్ హియర్ what do you say here, weights, thread dot sleep, implicit weight, page load, time out, explicit weight, fluent weight I did not explain yet. నాకు చెప్పలేదు ఇంకా మీకు, I did not explain. So regarding the rest of them, cool or you still have any issue? How? అమ్మా पेज लोड किसके लिए काम करेगा? यू सी आइडियली वेयर डू वी पुट पेज लोड? पेज लोड ఏంది అంటే द पेज लोड इज नथिंग बट, कहाँ पे लिखा मैंने इसमें, हाँ, ये पेज लोड को तुम इंडिविजुअली यहाँ नहीं लिख सकते. यूजुअली यू शुड नॉट बी राइटिंग पेज लोड लाइक दिस. कहाँ पे लिखना है इसको? यू शुड बी राइटिंग इट हियर द कॉमन मेथड्स व्हेन यू आर ओपनिंग द ड्राइवर इटसेल्फ. ड्राइवर जब ओपन कर रहे हो तभी हैंडल कर लेने का. ये यू शुड नॉट बी पुटिंग दिस इंडिविजुअली. अभी मेरे को दिखाना था तो मैं I have shown it to you individually separately. Sometimes what we do is, sometimes even driver.get will not be in a position to handle the waiting time, so we put both page load timeout and driver.get दोनों भी लगा के हम ड्राइवर को ओपन कर रहे हैं हम लोग. अगर तुमको वेट करना है, you want to wait for a particular element, page load timeout should not be used. Go with implicit wait or next thing explicit wait. पेज लोड टाइम आउट यूज मत करो, बट इफ यू रियली वांट टू यूज इट, गो अहेड एंड यूज इट, नथिंग रॉन्ग इन दैट. बट वी जनरली डोंट यूज पेज लोड टाइम आउट हियर इन द मिडिल ऑफ द टेस्ट केस. टेस्ट केस के बीच में यूज नहीं करते हम लोग. वी यूज इट whenever we use this driver.navigate.to. whenever we use driver.navigate.to, at that time we'll use it, or else rather than using page load timeout. मेरे को पूरा पेज लोड होने में मेरे को कोई दिलचस्पी नहीं है. I am not interested in waiting for the entire page to load. मेरे को क्या फर्क पड़ने वाला है? If my element is visible, I don't want to wait for the entire. If you are aims to wait for the entire page to load. If your required element is visible, go with automation. Automation करते जाओ, बाकी पेज लोड होते जाएगा. The rest of the page will continue loading. So I am not interested in waiting for the entire page to load. मेरे को उतना टाइम वेस्ट करने का नहीं है. If my element is loading, I will move forward with it. So to wait for the entire page to load, page load time out. Sometimes तेरे को जो एलिमेंट लोड होना है वो लोड हो गया, खत्म, मूव फॉरवर्ड विद द ऑटोमेशन. डोंट वेट फॉर द एंटायर पेज टू लोड. व्हाई डू यू वांट टू वेस्ट योर टाइम? इट माइट बी अ फ्रैक्शन ऑफ सेकंड्स ओनली. आई एम नॉट डिनाइंग इट. एक दिन तो नहीं लगेगा. इट इज जस्ट अ फ्रैक्शन ऑफ सेकंड्स, बट नॉट इंटरेस्टेड इन वेटिंग फॉर द एंटायर पेज टू लोड. तेरे को मेरा एलिमेंट दिखा बस. अभी ऑन दिस फेसबुक पेज आई डोंट केयर इफ दी these all are loading or not, or this forgotten password is loading or not, or create new account is loading or not. I really don't care वो load हुआ होने दो नहीं होने दो, मेरे को फर्क नहीं पड़ता. because I just want to log in के लिए what are the elements that I need? username, password, login button. If these three elements are loading, I will move forward. I don't care what happens with the rest of the page. मेरे को क्या करना है मेरे को. So in that case I don't have to use page load timeout. I don't want to wait for the entire page to load. I want only these three. For these three I'll use implicit wait. खत्म हो गया, done. समझे? या डाउट है? पूरा पेज के लिए एप्लीकेबल नहीं है वो. नहीं, it will wait only for a single element. हाँ, तुम गूगल करोगे तो बोलेगा कि it will wait for the page to load, then it will give you no such element exception हो सब कुछ. But नहीं, it will not work for all the elements. It will not work for the entire page. It will work only for an individual element. अगर तेरे को 3 element के लिए रुकना है 3 बार लिखना है. You want to wait for 3 elements, you will have to write implicit wait 3 times. That's the ideal way. But common sense हमको क्या बोलता है? If email element is loading, password भी load होगा कैसे भी. Email एक बार, password एक बार तो load नहीं होता है. Both of them will load at the same time. अगर ये दोनों सही लोड हो रहे हैं, login also will load at the same time appropriately only. So in this case, even if you write loading implicit wait for email element, it will handle the rest of the 2 also, no problem. But sometimes what will happen, I will show you a small example here. Okay, I'll wait for the page to load. पेज लोड हो गया. आई एम क्लिकिंग ऑन लॉग इन बटन. ओके, लॉग इन में आई एम क्लिकिंग ऑन पर्सनल बैंकिंग. अभी ऑब्जर्व करो, स्क्रीन को ऑब्जर्व करो एक बार. इट इज टेकिंग सम टाइम टू लोड द पेज. यू कैन यूज योर पेज लोड टाइम आउट एंड हैंडल दिस, नॉट अ प्रॉब्लम. बट अभी यहाँ पे इफ यू ऑब्जर्व हियर, ओके, कहाँ पे गया है क्या? डिड दिस लॉग इन चेंज? ठीक है, लॉगिन और पासवर्ड, यूजर आईडी पासवर्ड दोनों एक ही बार आ रहे हैं. यूजुअली वी हैड इट डिफरेंटली व्हेन आई गेव द एग्जांपल. कौन सा अकाउंट बता दूं? हाँ, आई विल शो यू इंस्टाग्राम दिखाऊंगा मैं. टेक इंस्टाग्राम ओनली एज द एग्जांपल. यहाँ पे तुमको लॉगिन बटन क्लिकेबल है. इज इट क्लिकेबल इन दिस केस? बट इज द एलिमेंट लोडेड? एलिमेंट इज लोडेड, बट इज इट इन क्लिकेबल स्टेट? नो. व्हेन विल इट बी इन क्लिकेबल स्टेट? Clickable state. In this case, your page load timeout, your implicit wait, your thread dot sleep. None of these can help in this case. Why? Because it is loading, but it is not in a position to be clickable. So in this case, even if you use implicit wait, also it will not do anything. Page load timeout करेगा भी तो कुछ नहीं करेगा वो. Are you able to click on this? You are not able to click on this. In this case comes your explicit wait. You are waiting for the element to be clickable. वो clickable होने तक तुम wait कर रहे हो. एलिमेंट दिखना दूसरी बात है, एलिमेंट इंटरैक्टेबल होना दूसरी बात है. एलिमेंट इज विजिबल इन दिस केस, बट इट इज नॉट इंटरैक्टेबल इन दिस केस. सो देयर आर डिफरेंट कॉम्बिनेशंस दैट यू आर गोइंग टू गेट. प्रीवियसली मेरे को एलिमेंट ही नहीं लोड हो रहा था, द एलिमेंट इटसेल्फ वाज नॉट लोडिंग, सो इम्प्लिसिट वेट वाज इनफ, इट वाज हैंडलिंग इट. नहीं तो थ्रेड डॉट स्लीप वाज हैंडलिंग इट. बट हियर द पेज इज लोडिंग, द एलिमेंट इज आल्सो विजिबल, बट इट इज नॉट इन एन इंटरैक्टेबल स्टेट. It is in an empty state. I mean, it is in a grayed out fashion. I cannot click on it. In some websites, unless you fill one field, the next field will not be visible for you. एक field fill करते करते दूसरा field आ जाएगा तुमको. Okay, Paytm में भी देखो, observe in Paytm also here. Page load हो गया तुमको, the page is loaded. Observe here in, अभी यहाँ पे if you observe, there is one way and round trip, both the options. Page load हुआ तुमको, page load हो गया तुमको, but when I click on round trip, okay, the UI is going to change. देखो UI change हो गया यहाँ पे. Previously it was simply saying add return. Now since I clicked on round trip, the UI is changing. Choose date बोल के. And if I click on this choose date, okay, date choose करूँगा, then it will change the entire UI again moving forward. So sometimes it is not about loading the page. The page का contents are going to change based on the options that you select. The options that you select will give different fields. अभी तेरे को सिर्फ one way trip है, the UI is different. If it is a two way trip, round trip, up and down book करना चाहती हो, the UI is again changing here. In this case it's not about the page load. ये पूरा page load होने के लिए तुम wait नहीं कर रहे हो इस situation में. You are waiting for that one element to change. So in that case your implicit wait is enough. But in this case your page is loading, your but are you able to interact with the element? No. In that case you need to use a different type of wait again. Should I use 5 times implicit wait? Use it, no problem. It's a dynamic wait. तो 60 seconds देगा implicit wait में. Is it really going to wait for 60 seconds? It is dynamic. तो एक दो will be highlighted. There are some websites where first you need to type your email address. After you type your email address, then the password field will automatically open at the bottom. In that case, you should use implicit wait for both of them because पहला वाला type करने के बाद ही दूसरा वाला आ रहा है तुमको. You type the first one, only then you are getting the second one. यहाँ पे ऐसा आ रहा है क्या? username password dono you can see both of them on the screen. So if you use implicit wait for any one of them, that is enough, chalega. But in some cases, unless you type the username, you will not get the password field highlighted. I don't remember because previously ICICI Bank mein वैसा था. That's an example I used to give. Maybe recently they have changed their UI. So unless you type the username, unless your username is correct, your password field will not appear. In that case तुमको email element पे भी implicit wait रखना पड़ेगा. Password field पे भी you should put an other implicit wait. So depends. पेज लोड करेगा, लेकिन अनलेस यू टाइप द ईमेल एलिमेंट, द पासवर्ड एलिमेंट इज नॉट हाईलाइटिंग. तो पेज लोड का क्या करेगा तू? व्हाट विल यू डू विद द पेज लोड? पेज लोड हुआ तो ही तेरे को ईमेल एड्रेस फील्ड दिख रहा है. इफ योर ईमेल एड्रेस इज करेक्ट, ओनली देन पासवर्ड इज विजिबल. सो द पासवर्ड फील्ड इज डिपेंडेंट ऑन व्हाट? इज इट डिपेंडेंट ऑन द पेज लोड और इज इट डिपेंडेंट ऑन योर ईमेल एड्रेस? पेज लोड पे डिपेंडेंट है पासवर्ड फील्ड, नहीं तो तुम्हारा ईमेल एड्रेस पे डिपेंडेंट है पासवर्ड. इन दिस केस ईमेल एड्रेस पे डिपेंडेंट है, तो पूरा पेज के लिए क्यों वेट करेगा तू? व्हाई आर यू गोइंग टू वेट फॉर द एंटायर पेज? नॉट नेसेसरी. यू नीड टू वेट फॉर अ पर्टिकुलर एलिमेंट देयर. इम्प्लिसिट वेट. और इन 3 एलिमेंट्स पे वेट करना है. ऑल द 3 एलिमेंट्स आर लोडिंग एट द सेम टाइम. वेट फॉर द फर्स्ट एलिमेंट हो जाएगा ना. द रेस्ट ऑफ द एलिमेंट्स आर ऑब्वियसली गोइंग टू लोड. नहीं, आई वांट टू पुट वेटिंग फॉर ऑल द 3 एलिमेंट्स. पुट इट. एक सेकंड इधर उधर होगा, नॉट अ प्रॉब्लम. इम्प्लिसिट वेट इज नॉट लाइक योर थ्रेड डॉट स्लीप वेयर इट इज गोइंग टू वेट फॉर द एंटायर ड्यूरेशन, राइट? पूरा टाइम वेस्ट नहीं करेगा वो. इफ इट इज वेटिंग, इट विल इमीडिएटली मूव फॉरवर्ड, आगे बढ़ेगा वो स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड. सो दैट्स अ डायनामिक वेट, नो प्रॉब्लम. यू कैन पुट एज मेनी वेट्स एज यू वांट, नॉट अ प्रॉब्लम. हाँ, అర్థం కాలే. driver.get key, you don't have to use page load timeout also. It is automatically handled in driver.get. navigate.to, it is not handled. You need to put it manually. Yes, you go from one page to another page, you will have to use page load timeout. नहीं, मेरे को पूरा पेज वेट नहीं करने का. I don't want to wait for the entire page. I want to wait only for this element. Put only for one element you want. ज्यादा फर्क नहीं दिखेगा. You will not observe a drastic difference. ये 2 मिनट में हो रहा है, ये 2 सेकंड में हो रहा है, उतना डिफरेंस नहीं रहता है. There will not be that much of a difference in the waiting time. नहीं, if you want to wait for the entire page, for every page you should put page load timeout. Page load timeout क्या है? It will wait for the entire page to load, not bothered about a single element. Implicit wait क्या है? It is bothered for a single element to be visible on the screen. Explicit wait क्या है? We will understand in the upcoming sessions. Thread.sleep क्या है? Thread.sleep does not bother about any of this. इसको सब कुछ जानता नहीं वो. You give whatever waiting time, it will wait for the entire waiting time. వాడు మొరటోడు లాగా వాడు, వానికి ఏం తెలియదు, వానికి టైం వేస్ట్ ఏవో. సో దట్ ఈస్ వాట్ ఇట్ ఈస్. What is the difference between absolute and relative expat? I did not cover that yet. I will cover. आज का सेशन तो वेट्स पे ही चले गया. I will discuss your absolute relative expats in tomorrow's session. Don't worry. I still have a lot of things to explain to you. It is not yet over. CSS locator भी अभी explain नहीं करा मैं. Let me explain CSS locator quickly. एक छोटा सा वेबसाइट पे CSS locator दिखा दूंगा तो हो जाएगा. ओके, समझ में आया? और कुछ डाउट है? CSS selector dot send keys. I want to just type something in the email field. Email field को कैसे locate करेंगे? We are going to say input, the input field hash email. Observe. See, using CSS locator also you can locate it like not a problem. Okay, and मेरे को let's say I want to click in this, I want to type in this password field. मेरे को password field में type करना है. I want to type in the password field. But if you observe in the password field, there are a lot of spaces like this. बहुत सारे spaces है इसमें. How will you handle these spaces? Simple. Let me show it to you. using class attribute also you can do this. कैसे करोगे? This is password field. Okay, password field. Try CSS input. Sorry, tag name is input. There are a lot of spaces. If there are spaces, okay. Even if there are spaces, let's try to type something. Let's see if it is typing or not. There are numbers. Ideally, we should not be taking attribute with numbers, but these numbers will remain constant every time. ఈ numbers constant ఉంటాయి ఎప్పుడైనా. At least that's what I observed in all my these years of experience. These values remaining same every time. वो number ही है, it is numeric only, but every time it is remaining same. But why is it not locating? Because there are spaces in between here. इसमें बहुत सारे spaces है. There are lot of spaces due to which it is not able to interact with the element. So remove this space and in place of space put a dot. Now let's see it is going to work or not. Spaces के place में instead of spaces put dot. Now it is typing. So that's how you'll use your CSS selector using ID attribute का value, class attribute का value. Okay. So okay, let me push this. देखते हैं. Do I have time? It's 9:08. I guess the next batch will be coming into this room, so I don't think I should be making them wait. So I'll explain here absolute experts and relative experts in tomorrow's session. Hold on a minute. I'll check with the guy. If at all no one is there, I'll extend another 10 minutes and I'll explain. వస్తున్నా ఉన్నారా? Okay, we can continue. 10 నిమిషాలే, నేను తీసుకోనిలే. I'll not extend, only 10 minutes I'll extend and will close because you have asked me, I'll explain that to you. I have a query. If there is a drop down option with some options, then how to interact with that options when R comes under that drop down menu? Example, on Amazon website there is prime drop down option with few options. How to manage that all? Experts. मैंने क्या बोला था कल? Yesterday what did I tell you? Your drop downs can be manageable only in one case. What is that case? Select tag है तो only in that case your select का code that I explained will work. अभी prime, for prime there are all these options here. यहाँ पे सारे options आ रहे हैं. You are getting all these options here. Observe. Not this one. Fresh. చూడు fresh మీద పెడితే you are getting all of this. So you need to write the XPath for fresh. Click on fresh. Fresh पे click करो. Okay, it does not require clicking. You just need to hover. You don't know how to hover yet. You are not clicking on this, hover this. If you just put your cursor, it is giving you all these options. How to handle all of this? Simple. Here, if you click on this, it is giving you all of these other options. Simple. First you will click, you will wait for these options to load. Once these options are visible using XPath, you can interact with them. These are not your drop downs. इसको drop down नहीं बोलते हम लोग. We do not call these as drop downs. These are your menu options. That's it. Drop down मतलब क्या है? What is the meaning of drop down? This is a drop down where you have lots of options like this which use select tag and options tag. हाँ, both of them look very similar. I understand that. दोनों दिखने में एक ही तरह दिख रहे हैं. I understand that. But unfortunately, the select code that I've explained yesterday will not work on other elements where there is no select tag. It will work on only those elements where there is a select tag. In that case, you need to use your weights, you need to use your XPaths and interact. I will give you those assignments also. Don't worry. అవి కూడా ఇస్తాను నేను మీకు. Today's assignment. What is today's assignment? समझा नहीं? कर्सर और बहुत कुछ है सीखने में. With this knowledge you will not be able to move forward much. ये काफी नहीं है, बहुत कुछ सीखना है अभी सेलेनियम में. I'll explain. एक एक कॉन्सेप्ट एक एक सिचुएशन बेसिस पे एक्सप्लेन करेगा तो समझ में आएगा. इफ आई एक्सप्लेन इट एज अ नॉर्मल कॉन्सेप्ट यू विल नॉट अंडरस्टैंड इट. तुमको वो डिफिकल्टी आना है, वो डिफिकल्टी आने के बाद अगर आई एक्सप्लेन देन यू विल रिमेंबर इट बेटर. दैट इज व्हाई आई गिव दोस काइंड ऑफ असाइनमेंट्स ओनली. पहला दिन में आई एक्सप्लेन ओनली 4 लोकेटर्स बट आई आस्क्ड यू टू लॉग इनटू इंस्टाग्राम. यू आर नॉट एबल टू लॉग इनटू इंस्टाग्राम. तुम खुद अपने आप एक्सपाथ फिगर आउट कर लिए But once I explain next part to you, you are able to move forward. You should face that difficulty, then I explain that concept, then you will understand it. Without you facing that difficulty, if I explain, you might not be able to remember it that quickly. So your today's assignment, what is today's assignment? दिन के मात्रम तातल दिख रहा वाला, तुम्हारे पूरे खानदान के बुजुर्ग लोग भी आगे ऊपर से नीचे आना पड़ेगा ये असाइनमेंट करने के लिए. It's a very difficult assignment, but if you are able to do it, rest assured you are in a good position to crack a job. हाँ, ओवर कॉन्फिडेंट मत बनो, बट यू हैव डिसेंट नॉलेज. आई विल एक्सेप्ट दैट यू हैव अ डिसेंट नॉलेज. तुम अपना दुकान भी खोल ले सकते हैं अगर तेरे को उतना टैलेंट है, मेरी तरह. तुम्हारी मर्जी. सो सेम आईफोन असाइनमेंट ओनली, आईफोन 16, सेम ओपन द सेम थिंग अगेन, एवरीथिंग इज सेम. इसीलिए मैं मेथड की तरह लिखने को बोला था. इफ यू हैव रिटन इट एज मेथड्स, you will simply call this method in your this test ticket also. अभी क्या करना है मेरे को? What should I do? Simple. If you scroll down, अबे तेरे को scrolling बताना पड़ेगा इसके लिए. I did not explain scrolling. वाह, इसके लिए scrolling बताना पड़ेगा तेरे को. I don't explain scrolling, then you will not be able to do it. Okay, I'll give you an overview to this assignment. What is this assignment बोल के? I'll explain scrolling tomorrow and I'll give this assignment for the weekend. Weekend को दे दूंगा ये assignment तुमको. For today, I'll give you a different assignment. What is the different assignment for today? Simple. The assignment is like this. You open your Amazon, right? Amazon open करेगा तू. करने के बाद, हाँ, Amazon open करने के बाद, मेरे को simple. I want you to do the following thing. What is that following thing? There is a selling price here. दिख रहा है यहाँ पे selling price 1,35,900 or one kidney. You're able to see the selling price here. MRP क्या है? More than one kidney, 1,44,900. So I want you to write a program and verify original price क्या है इसका? What is the original price? 144,900 is the original price. What is the selling price? Discounted price 135,900. How much is the discount? नीचे दे रहा है 6% बोल के. He is giving you that the discount is 6%, but I want you to verify if it is genuinely 6% or not. Only for the first element. I don't want you to do it for all the elements. Search करने के बाद you open this element, then get the MRP which is 144,900, get the selling price 135,900 and get the discount 6%. Then put the assertion in such a way that this 6% is equal to, वही बोल रहा है 6% बोल के. Then you need to calculate 144 minus 135 and what is the amount and what is the discount. Is it really 6% or not? Put an assertion and verify. समझ में आ रहा है? Understood what I'm trying to say here? అర్థమైందా? Got it everyone? అర్థమైందా లేకపోతే డౌటా? Understood the assignment everyone? ఇక్కడ 144 ఉంది. You have 144,900. You have 135,900. What is the difference between 144,900 and 135,900? 9,000 difference. What is 9,000 of 144,900? Roughly 6%. Round it to the next possible integer and compare. नीचे क्या बोल रहा है? नीचे क्या बोल रहा है वो? 6% off. Is it really 6% or not? सच में 6% दे रहा है या नहीं दे रहा है? I want you to put an assertion and verify. That is your assignment for today. అర్థమైందా assignment? ఇవన్నీ మీరు చేసి you have done all of this. Only the discount calculation you have not done. If you have done everything in the form of methods and method calls, this assignment will be over in half an hour for you. But మీరు అంతా మెయిన్ మెథడ్ రాసి కూర్చున్నారు. You have written everything in have to oh तब तो हो जाता है यार. ओ करो देखो. Simply like this. What you are saying, void a method. इसके अंदर तुम एक और मेथड को बुला रहे हो, बस वही बोल रहा हो ना. मत करो ऐसा. Call both the methods separately. Don't do it. क्योंकि लॉन्ग रन में तुमको रियूजेबिलिटी नहीं होगा. ये उतना रियूजेबल नहीं है. अलग 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 कर दो सब कुछ. मेक एवरीथिंग एज अ सेपरेट मेथड. जहां चाहे वहां मेथड को कॉल करो बस. Don't write everything in one method, or don't join two methods like that. At any point of time, I can pick any method and use it anywhere I want. That's how you should write the methods. This method is dependent on this method. ये method execute करेगा, only then ये method use कर सकते हैं. Don't do it like that. Write it in a very generic fashion. मैं कहीं और कभी और भी यूज करना चाहता हूँ तो सिर्फ वो एक मेथड को उठा के लाके एग्जीक्यूट करना चाहिए मेरे को, वैसा लिखना है तुमको कोड. ड्राइवर मेथड अलग कॉल करो, सर्च के लिए अलग कॉल करो, प्राइस कैलकुलेशन के लिए अलग मेथड कॉल करो. डोंट कंबाइन ऑल ऑफ दिस इन अ सिंगल मेथड, और एक मेथड के अंदर दूसरा मेथड मत लिखो. डोंट राइट. ओपनिंग ड्राइवर सेपरेट मेथड, सर्च के लिए सेपरेट मेथड, सर्च करने के बाद क्लिक करने के लिए सेपरेट मेथड, वेट करने के लिए सेपरेट मेथड, प्राइस रिट्रीव करने के लिए सेपरेट मेथड, रिट्रीव प्राइस करने के बाद डिस्काउंट कैलकुलेट करने के लिए सेपरेट मेथड. ऐसा कीमा कर दो सब कुछ, पीसेस पीसेस में कीमा बना दो उसको. वही यू नेवर नो. कभी अभी if you look it from an assignment perspective, this is nothing. You can write everything in one method also. But if you don't get that habit of dividing everything into different methods, कल project में जाने के बाद you will not be able to think in terms of methods. Project में जाने के बाद small thing, even for a small click also you should write a method sometimes. पढ़ता है कभी कभी. It requires you to write a separate method. Even for one single line of code also you should write a method sometimes. It will save your time in the long run. So think of dividing an entire test case into multiple methods, not one two methods. Multiple methods में कैसे divide कर सकते हैं meaningful way में. Decide, think and write the code. And the methods which you are dividing should be usable again in the future also. Future में मैं कभी और use करना चाहता हूँ, even at that point of time also it should be usable for me. That's how you should write. हाँ, तुमको नया लगेगा ये सब कुछ. It will be new for you, but ट्रस्ट मी, लॉन्ग रन में इट विल बी यूजफुल फॉर यू वेरी मच. कोशिश तो करो, जहां तक हो सके वहां तक डिवाइड करो. आई वॉज एबल टू डिवाइड दिस एंटायर टेस्ट केस इनटू 5-6 मेथड्स. यू ट्राई टू डिवाइड इट इनटू 2 or 3 मेथड्स एटलीस्ट. क्या जाने वाला है, डिवाइड करो. डिवाइड करने के बाद देखेंगे, जहां तक जाओगे वहां तक जाओगे, है ना. समझ में आया? So your absolute, so I hope you guys have understood the assignment now. Assignment అర్థమైందని అనుకుంటా. I hope you understood the assignment for today. No, absolute and relative XPath. Very good question that you have asked me, an absolute and relative XPath. What is absolute and what is relative XPath? Simple. All these days you are writing relative XPath, not absolute XPath. Because absolute XPath cannot be written, it has to be copied and pasted from the internet. उसको internet से copy paste करना पड़ेगा. This is how for Facebook email address element के लिए, for the email address element, this is how my XPath will look like. Input @id is equal to email. This is how I'm writing the XPath for this element. This is a relative XPath. But if I have to write a absolute XPath for this element, this is how it will be. Right click, copy full XPath. This is how it will look like. This is how it is. ऐसा है तुम्हारा XPath, relative absolute XPath. What is absolute XPath doing? Absolute XPath is basically starting from the first tag. हर पेज पे what is the first tag on every page? HTML. So what is it doing? It is drawing a route map. From the first tag, into route should I go so that I can reach this email element. So HTML, then body, then div, then div. It is traveling this entire route to reach the input element. That's why you cannot write the absolute XPath for yourself. Impossible. Because absolute XPath is like a route map. Google Maps की तरह it's like a route map. Take right, take left, go straight, 100 meters U-turn. Similarly, your absolute XPath is also like this. First go to HTML tag, then go to body tag, then go to first div tag, then go to first div tag, then go to inside that there is a first div tag. It's like a route map. This route map will fail. Why? Because बीच में if there is one more element added by the developer or one element is removed by the developer, khatam. This entire absolute XPath is going to fail. But when it comes to relative XPath, we are not dependent on the route map. We are simply saying locate an input tag whose ID attribute contains email. पूरा page पे. It can be anywhere on the page. At the bottom, left, top, center, right, wherever it may be. But absolute XPath is not like that. Absolute XPath follows a route course, a route map. It should go in that particular route only, then it will get the answer. If any element is added or removed, by chance, this div element is removed in the middle. Why? There will be UI changes happening very frequently on the page. Page pe UI changes are happening means your testing cases will fail on Selenium. So, if you write absolute XPaths, one div element has been removed. So, if I remove this div element and if I try to locate the element, same XPath, if I try to locate, I will not be able to locate because route map change ho gaya. The route course has changed. But here in the relative XPath, I am not dependent on the route map. All I am saying Selenium, ki bhai, open Facebook, you will find an input tag whose ID attribute is email. Locate that element. That's what I am saying. This is what it is. That's the difference between your absolute and relative XPath. So in the interview, if the interviewer asks you absolute XPath, what to do? He will not ask you, but if he asks you, you should say, every absolute XPath starts with the first tag. What is the first tag? HTML. Then it will go to the body tag because body tag में तुम्हारा पूरा website का code body tag में रहेगा. Your entire website code will be in the body tag. So first it will go to the HTML tag, then the body tag, then finally to the required tag, which is input tag. Is something that any human being can write. Even he knows that. He is expecting basic absolute XPath syntax, not the exact syntax. First give him this syntax. इस syntax में रहेगा. This is how the absolute XPath is going to look like. If he wants the exact absolute XPath, you will have to say मेरे को time देना पड़ेगा. I need time because अभी देखो from the HTML tag it is going to body tag. In the body tag it is going to div tag. It is going to each and every div tag. अंदर जाके it is locating the input element, which is going to take some time for you to locate. And even if you locate, it might be wrong also. There is no guarantee that you are going to locate it properly. अभी किसको समझ में आएगा ये पूरा HTML code का route map? Who will understand this? Not even the developer will understand this. So that is why if he asks you absolute XPath in the interview, just tell him that it is not possible to write absolute XPath all. I need some time. But if you want me to show the syntax, this is the syntax for absolute XPath, and it is like a route map for you, starting from the root node or the root element, which is HTML, to the required element, which is input. It shows like a route map. If you want me to write, I can write, but it will take some time. Or else we can even do right click and copy XPath also. You can say like that, no problem. Copy का option मत बोलो उसको, but if he asks, you can tell him that you can copy from internet also. Okay. The problem with copying XPath is each browser gives you XPath in a different way. For जो absolute XPath, the absolute XPath that Chrome is giving will not be same on Firefox. You never know. Firefox एक तरह देगा, Chrome एक तरह देगा, Opera एक तरह देगा. So if you are in a plan to copy the XPath from the browser, all the best, because no two browsers will give you the same XPaths. If you write it for yourself, that is good. Don't copy the XPath from the browser. That is the worst way of writing your XPaths. Okay? Understood? Who asked me this question? किसने पूछा ये? Dhanasri. Understood, Dhanasri? I could have explained it in the upcoming sessions, but I am explaining it now itself. समझ में आया, Dhanasri? Relative XPath is dynamic in nature and absolute XPath is more like static. हाँ, you can think like that. Yes. Nothing wrong in that. Absolute XPaths have a higher probability to fail than relative XPaths. Relative XPaths are relatively stronger than your absolute XPaths. They are stronger because you're not giving any route map. You're saying, पूरा page पे locate me this element. So they will work at any cost. Whereas absolute XPath is like a route map. Bro, no, Elbinagar to Amirpet you are coming. Beach mein there is a small road construction or some road diversion due to this rainy season. Your entire plan is going to get disturbed. Think of the same way in absolute XPath also. It's a proper route map starting from the HTML tag to the required tag, your element. If anything is removed or added in between, your developers will add all sorts of elements and they will remove all sorts of elements from the web page. There is no guarantee that हर बार वो तुमको बता के करेगा ये सब कुछ. Every time he's not going to tell you, boss, I have added this one tag, please note. No, he's not going to tell you. Your code should be strong enough to handle this. तेरा कोड में उतना दम रहना चाहिए कि वो handle कर पाए सब कुछ. So that is why relative XPaths are better than your absolute XPaths in this case. That's how it is. Cool? Chalo. We'll meet again in tomorrow's session. Tomorrow I am planning to take an afternoon extra session. संडे तुम लोग कैसे भी नहीं आओगे. आज तो 5 लोग आए ऑफलाइन में. I'll take a online session, complete online session tomorrow at 3 p.m. just like last week. What will I do? I will discuss test-ng concept with you. I'll start test-ng in tomorrow's session. Okay? I'll start test-ng. But if you are willing to attend on Sunday, I will not take tomorrow afternoon. No problem for me. Then tomorrow afternoon, I'll talk to the admin and I'll make sure the link is available. We'll discuss test-ng. From Monday onwards, we'll start test-ng, Java, Selenium, all three combination. We'll write our test cases. Okay? Chalo.